Hey, what's up guys, it's Axel, and today we're taking a look at the EPZ P50. This is a tribrid IEM. It has 1 DD, 2 BA, and 2 microplanars. So it's a tribrid IEM, comes in at a price of around $205. This is one of those IEMs that I really tried to like. I gave it my best shot, but well, let's get into it and I'll explain why. All right, starting off, here's what you get in the box. Of course, you get the earpieces themselves, and you do get 6 pairs of silicone ear tips. You do get a cleaning cloth. You do get a puck-style carrying case, and of course, you get a modular cable. The carrying case is actually very nice. It's sturdy and it has a premium feeling to it. And the cable, while modular, is kind of like on the thin side, on the stiff side, and it has some memory retention. It's not microphonic though, and it doesn't tangle that much. Like swapping determinations though, isn't exactly easy. It's a bit tight, the connection is a bit tight, and just taking it off is a bit of a challenge. Anyway, I like that the cable is modular, and that is something nice to see. When it comes to the earpieces themselves, obviously design is subjective. I think they look beautiful. They look gorgeous. It has a very unique look, and the first thing that stood out to me is just how small they are. P50 is smaller than, the tip of my index finger or my thumb. So if you have small ears, this is one IEM that you might want to check out. Another thing I want to talk about is that the build here is a hybrid of metal on the top and resin down here. Nozzle diameter is 5.7 millimeter, so it's pretty small. Again, if you have small ears, this is something to consider. But the nozzle is a bit on the tall side. It's a bit long, and it doesn't have a lip to hold your ear tips. So if you have an ear tip, if you wear large ear tips like me, the nozzle diameter is a bit big. You wear this like this, and I find that it slips off way too easily. So if I'm wearing this, sometimes I would take the IEMs outside of my ear. I find that the ear tip would slip and get stuck in my ear. So this is just something I want to talk about. Another thing is the comfort. Comfort-wise, these are very comfortable. Small, compact form factor. I had no issues wearing it for hours and hours. When it comes to the noise though, these don't exactly isolate a lot of noise. As you can see, these openings that you see right here, they kind of leak sound. You can hear them, and they kind of let sound in. So if you're not playing music, you can definitely hear your surroundings. If you snap your finger, you will hear it. But again, it's not exactly without isolation. It kind of isolates some sound as well. So I wouldn't call it a completely open back sound without isolation. No, there is some isolation. Compared to headphones, I would compare this, for example, to semi-open back headphones, right? It kind of isolates some, but leaks some as well. One thing I want to mention quickly is, ironically, if you cover the openings right here when you're listening to the music, the bass and the overall sound kind of improves, in my opinion, or at least changes, right? So there's definitely some venting interaction happening here. Now, there are a few things that I encountered with the P50. I want to mention them quickly. Number one is the cable is, 2-pin. That works best with a recessed 2-pin connector. This is a flush connector. Again, it works, but it's not ideal, and, it's not a big deal. Number two is the 2-pin connector right here on my set is a bit loose. As you can see, if I do that, it kind of wobbles, left and right and front and back. This is something that happens on both sides. Again, it didn't affect the sound, but it's like, something I noticed, and I kind of wish it wasn't there. Number three, I wanted to say that one of the IEMs right here, the right side, I think has an out of phase polarity, so meaning that the sound when I listened to it was completely off, and then I had to measure it and confirm this with Room EQ Wizard. So basically what means is that the connector is upside down. Instead of like this, you have to connect your cable the opposite way, right? Like this. This isn't exactly easy to do because you have these preformed ear hooks on your cable. This is something that made me wonder, like, is this kind of intentional or just accidental? Because an out of phase setup kind of makes the sound unnaturally wide. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It's just something that you have to hear. I will post a video, a very short video that kind of show you a test, which you can listen to the video and know exactly if it's in phase or out of phase. So anyway, let's talk about the sound. If you check Squiglink, you'll see measurements of the EPZ P50 that look amazing on paper. Some measurements are kind of different, and I will just say my personal experience with it on my set and my ears. I say it looks amazing on paper, but listening to it is a completely different story. Let's start with the bass. Bass is clean and controlled, okay? Sub bass is weak, even at high volumes, doesn't rumble. And you can listen to Deadmau5, you can listen to Angel by Massive Attack. You know, it just doesn't rumble. Mid bass, surprisingly though, has some nice slam to it. It's not a lot. If you're listening to it, for example, with drum kicks, it's not there. It's a bit light. But if you listen to something, for example, that like, let's say Doing It Right by Daft Punk, the bass slam is definitely there. A bit on the light side, absolutely. But there is some mid bass slam, and it's kind of nice. The bass quality though is not really something that I enjoyed that much. The bass here has a fast decay, so it reminded me a lot of a BA bass where you can hear it, but it's not exactly, you know, has that quality that comes with a dynamic driver. It's kind of fast. It feels like as almost some of the bass escapes from the back of the IEM or something. Like, I don't know really how to describe it. I'll say it's kind of like in between a dynamic driver type of bass and a balanced armature type of bass. Texture and detail in the bass is not that good. It feels a bit one-noted and a bit soft in its attack. It's not completely one-noted. There's definitely some texture in the bass and detail, but it's like more one-noted than textured, if that makes any sense. No bass bleed though, which is very nice, and overall I will describe the bass as decent. All right, it's not something bad. I enjoyed the bass of the P50. It's actually really nice. Now when it comes to the mid-range, you get a very, very clean mid-range. But for my ears, it sounded a bit shouty, a bit thin sometimes. And maybe I am sensitive to an elevated upper mid-range. I'm not sure, but I have other IEMs that have a similar mid-range tuning and even more, but they don't sound like that. And another thing is that some of the male vocals do have a tendency to sound thin. I will give an example. For example, Kendrick Lamar, the track Not Like Us, I just sounded off. Kendrick Lamar doesn't sound like that. That's just my opinion. Hello by Adele, you know, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, all sounded a bit shouty and intense. Even some simple stuff like finger snaps, you know, hand claps, snare drums are way too forward and do get shouty on a lot of tracks. Again, Doing It Right by Daft Punk is a very simple track that showcases this very much. Rock and metal didn't work out to me. For me at all. Distorted electric guitars sound screechy, and the mid-range quality here stands out too much because there isn't exactly a lot of bass to kind of balance this thing out. The best way for me to describe the mid-range, I would say just the drivers kind of sound like being overdriven, if that makes any sense to anyone out there. I don't know, man. If you have the P50, let me know. You know, I don't know. Maybe my set is like that. I'm not sure. So, you know, it's okay. Let's say the mid-range is nice. Let's move on to the treble. Now, I'm a big fan of microplanars. I'm a big fan of microplanars, and I think we have been seeing a lot of good quality improvements out there. When implemented correctly, not in every IEM out there, when implemented correctly, it does shine, and it's actually very beautiful. And we have seen that with the Moondrop Meteor, which is one of the best microplanar implementations I've ever seen. On the P50 here, we have two. And I will describe the sound like that. On laid-back tracks, let's say, for example, slow music, slow jazz. Another example is like the track Horizon by Daft Punk. I think the treble sounded fine. Treble sounds a bit separated from the rest of the music, if that makes sense. But the moment you listen to something else, the moment the track gets busy, the moment there is any high-frequency percussion sounds in the mix, the treble starts to sound splashy and metallic at the same time. And the splashiness that happens along with the shoutiness in the mid-range kind of masks a lot of the detail, and you know, you do find that the sound starts to become mushy and blurry, blurs the details and affects the instrument separation. Things kind of get this hazy layer of splashiness that covers some of the sound. Another good aspect of the treble here is that it's not a bright sounding treble. It's not harsh, it's not sibilant, just splashy, if that makes sense. Speaking of the level of separation and detail, level of detail here is good. I would say like it's 10 to 20% on my technical scale between the Nova and the Pilgrim. But when the track gets busy, that level of detail and that level of clarity starts to fall apart because of the separation that gets affected. Soundstage is actually pretty nice. There is a wide soundstage only in the treble. When it comes to the vocals and stuff like that, it's fine. And in the treble even, I will describe it like that. I was listening to Hypnotize by Notorious B.I.G. and you know guys, the sounds that like, you know, the twinkles or like these things in the background, they sound like as if they're coming from a separate driver or a separate tweeter in the mix, and they sound wider than the rest of the frequencies or the vocals. So they give you this nice effect where yes, they do sound wider, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly sound cohesive. and it's not even like a lot better than other IEMs out there. Like I would say other IEMs in this price range have a similar soundstage overall. It's not like an open back headphone, not at all, not at that level. I would say the soundstage is good. Listening to live tracks, amber, rhubarb and stuff like that sounded nice. Imaging is excellent as well. Timbre is on the metallic-y side, and yeah, that's just my opinion about the P50. Now, normally I would do a comparison segment, but I'm being honest here, I'm not a fan of the sound, and I feel that other IEMs out there are much better at this price range. Like for example, the Kiwi Ears KE4, the P7, the Gizaudio Odyssey. Just three options that sound much better when it comes to the detail and when it comes to the tuning. Even the Truth Ear Nova, which I have right here and I absolutely love, is slightly less detailed, but it has, in my opinion, much better sound quality. Now, EPZ makes great IEMs. Maybe this is just my set. It didn't work out for me. Maybe it didn't work for my ear. I've tried EPZ IEMs before, and many of them sound fantastic. I tried the 520, the 530. In my opinion, they're great IEMs. So this is not a bad IEM. I feel that some people will actually enjoy it. I recommend you try it out for yourself. It has clean bass. It has an open sound. It has a decent level of detail. And this is just my take on it. And if you've tried it, please let me know in the comment what do you think, you know. And let's move on to this section where who I recommend the EPZ P50 to. I recommend the P50 for anyone who wants to try an open back IEM. Check it out, try it. And number two, which is even more important, I recommend you try it first, listen to it first. You know, I'm just one man, all right? Don't listen to my opinion. Try it out for yourself, from your own opinion. Give it a try. It's definitely worth it. It has an open back design, which, you know, maybe this is something you're looking for. Another thing is for people with smaller ears. Now, this is a very compact form factor. Nozzle diameter is actually small and narrow, which is really nice. And this could be a very comfortable IEM for you. People who like, also, I recommend it for people who want forward vocals. If you are not sensitive to an upper mid-range and treble, and you like that forwardness in the vocals, you like some you know, energy in the treble, you know, that type of sound, again, you will probably enjoy the sound of the P50. Now, who I don't recommend the EPZ P50 to: number one, bass lovers. Like if you enjoy deep, textured, impactful bass, you know, this is not it. Rock and metal fans, again, it doesn't work out, at least for my ears, the mids and stuff like that. If you don't like a splashy or metallic sound when it comes to the treble, you know, especially in complex, busy tracks, I don't recommend it. Again, but this is just my opinion. I'm sure there will be many people who will love this tuning, will love this sound quality, will enjoy the EPZ P50. I definitely do recommend you check it out. As for the final rating, I will give the EPZ P50 a rating of 2 stars out of 5. And that concludes my review of the P50. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, if you have any question, leave it down in the comment section below. I will get back to you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.